Will the president nominate to replace Jeff Sessions, and can that person get confirmed? Three of the names reportedly in the mix right now. Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, who happened to be at the White House today. Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi and South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham also met with the president today, though he said he doesn't want the job. Well, let's talk about it with tonight's Power Panel. Here to weigh in, Fox News contributors Doug Schoen and Guy Benson, and the associate editor at Real Clear Politics, A.B. Stoddard. Welcome to all of you.
Thank you.
Hey, Shannon.
All right, A.B., I want to start with you because there are other names in the mix, too, along with Christie, Bondi, Scott Walker, Secretary Acosta, Rudy Giuliani. And I think you mentioned Chris Kobach, maybe. Not sure everyone knows who he is, but that would be a rather bold pick.
Yes, Chris Kobach just lost his gubernatorial race in Kansas to the Democrat. I think there was a third-party candidate as well who took some vote from him, but he led the president's unsuccessful voter fraud commission last year, and he's a ally of the president, and several White House officials have said on background that he might be under consideration. He's looking for a job. So it's the Trump administration, nothing. We don't rule out any surprises.
No, we don't.
With this team.
But, Doug, this is a really important pick at a time where the DOJ has been so embattled on so many fronts. Any advice for the White House?
Yeah, pick somebody who is above partisan politics. Restore confidence of the American people in the independence of our legal system, of the Justice Department, and don't take somebody who has been mired in electoral politics. It will hurt the country and hurt Donald Trump. And I think our president deserves better. The country certainly deserves better.
Guy, what do you think of these names? And with Chris Christie in particular, I think about him and the fact that Jared Kushner is not a big fan. They've got some history.
Look, there's some baggage for the first two names, Christie and Bondi. I don't think either one of them would just sail through a confirmation process, even in a strengthened Republican majority Senate. Lindsey Graham's interesting, but there's a reason why he doesn't want the job, and it's not because he's not interested in the cabinet or doesn't like the president. He is about to become the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, and he is, I think, chomping at the bit for that role, which is a very influential and powerful role with a very important legacy at stake as well. So my guess is he is highly interested in staying in the Senate for that reason. So, I'm not sure. I look at those names that you just mentioned, and I see pitfalls potentially for all of them, unless there's someone out there that we haven't thought of or haven't heard about. It sounds like they're starting to put some names out there on background, and Christie was at the White House today, for example, but I don't think we have the full picture just yet.
Well, it's not like they haven't been thinking about what they might do in a contingency plan if Jeff Sessions suddenly was not the Attorney General
Trump's been thinking
anymore.
about it every day.
Every day since Jeff Sessions recused himself from the Russia probe. Okay, I want to turn to another hot story that we covered quite a bit last night, and this has to do with Jim Acosta over at CNN, the back and forth over whether this video of what happened at the White House yesterday has been altered. Okay, with all that in mind, his press pass, it seems, is still on lockdown from the White House. This is what he said on 360 about making contact or not making contact with the intern who was trying to get the microphone from him and give to another questioner.
All I can say at that point is that I was trying to hang on to the microphone so I could continue to ask the president questions. Obviously, I didn't put my hands on her or touch her, as they're alleging, and it's just unfortunate that the White House is saying this.
Okay, so let's roll the video so people can see it again. And I want to read you also what Sarah Sanders said about this. She said, "We stand by our decision to revoke this individual's hard pass. We will not tolerate the inappropriate behavior clearly documented in this video." And you can see there she's trying to take the microphone and move on to the next person. There is some touching between the two. But, A.B., this continues to be hotly debated today.
Look, I'm with Brit Hume, who is a former White House reporter. They don't have grounds to take his hard pass away because he was rude, and they don't like the substance of his questions. You can disagree with the way he conducts himself and his behavior, but the idea that the White House put out a doctored video as a reason for Jim Acosta to have his pass revoked.
And just to be clear, what the White House says, it used some zooming technology to zoom in on what happened, but other than that...
You know what, Shannon, in my view, this is really Kremlin-esque, and I'm with conservative columnists Ben Shapiro, Eric Erickson, and John Podhoretz. Watch the video. It is, with the audio, he's saying, excuse me, ma'am, he is not manhandling this person. It is a trumped-up, made-up reason to revoke his pass, and it's absolutely wrong, and it's outrageous. The idea that the White House, that the officials of the President of the United States of America would use any doctoring of any video to do something to take away someone's First Amendment rights is beyond outrageous.
And this is what Congressman Jerry Connolly, who was asked about this, he said this: I believe they had an intern deliberately set up Jim Acosta. I think that's pretty clear. Doug and Guy, I want to get you to weigh in quickly. Doug, we'll start with you.
Very quickly. Nobody, I think, looks particularly good in this one. Acosta should have sat down. The president was needlessly harsh to him. You know, my attitude is, let's move past this. Let's restore his press pass and do a restart, because we got a lot more important problems to worry about than just what happened, when we have really the issues of our well-being as a nation at stake.
Guy, quickly before we get cut off.
Chris Wallace called Acosta embarrassing and a showboat. I agree with that. I looked at the video. I did not see Acosta putting his hands on her. There was contact. It was incidental. He was unprofessional. He was inappropriate. But I think to use that reason, the hands on her thing, as the excuse, I don't really buy that.
Well, we'll watch and see if the past comes back and when it does.
It should.
Thank you to our power panel.